Welcome to another episode from Life in Alberta on YouTube. If you're new to the channel, this is a channel dedicated to creating content about everything Albertan, whether it's consumerism and some of the sales possibly at your Costco, or sports talk with a few podcast episodes about the Oilers. Maybe you want to learn about some of the Albertan communities that you've never been to, like Westlock, Alberta. Or possibly you're looking for a recipe to make a delicious meal for your next supper. Lots of content covered on this channel, and starting off a new series, Coffee Talk, where I get to interview some Albertans, loyal, dedicated, hardworking, and learn a little bit more about their passions and interests. I hope you enjoy today's episode. Welcome to Life in Alberta and my new Coffee Talk series. This is a casual conversation that I want to have with people all across Alberta, the hardworking Albertans, to discuss their passions and interests and maybe some of their business ventures as well along the way, and just learn a little bit more about their expertise in a variety of different areas. Today, I want to focus on something that seems to be gaining more prominence across Alberta and Canada and the world, and that is crystals, and focusing on the significance of crystals in your life and how that might tie to your well-being and some of the steps that you can take with crystals to improve your physical and mental health. So I would like to bring on my first guest on my Coffee Talk series and welcome Anitta Jensen to the episode. How are you doing, Anitta?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, pleasure to have you on this Coffee Talk series where, share a coffee and learn a little bit more about people across Alberta and some of their interests and passions. And, I am new to the whole crystal experience. I do have, one kind of, I guess it's a crystal or rock that I'll show a little bit later. But it's an area that seems to be growing more attention, the last few months and the last few years. Maybe it's always, been kind of a focus of a lot of people. But before we get into the actual specific crystals, tell us a little bit about how you got involved. How did it become a passion of yours to investigate and study and deal with crystals?
Absolutely. So, my passion and I guess my wonderment, I'll call it, for crystals started, I want to say early 2015. That's when it really, life life did a complete 360 for me, actually. So I was in sales for a better part of 6 years, and I wasn't taking care of myself physically, emotionally, mentally. And my husband and I decided to quit it all to go live out in the mountains and run a lodge. And when that didn't pan out, well, now here I am, hurt. I had sore knees. Like I said, I wasn't eating properly. I was emotionally drained. And I just kind of put it out to the universe. And I said, you know what? Just guide me to whatever nature is meant to help me heal with. And that's actually how I stumbled upon crystals. So, yeah, as a little kid, I like to play with rocks and find stones. But my real passion really came when I all of a sudden met people that had been working with crystals and gone to activities and events and heard about actually how scientifically recognized they are actually for their healing properties. And yeah, I just started reading books and never stopped, never went back. So that's how my passion began. And here I am today.
Excellent. Yes. And, when you mentioned as a kid, collecting rocks and, who hasn't done that, right? You go to the beach or you go to the mountains and you pick up rocks that are, smooth or have a cool look or color to it. I think many of us have done that in the past. And so where did you first learn about crystals? Was it something just doing research, or was it, people that you listened to, or did you do some live, attending events? how did you get involved with the crystals?
Absolutely. So actually, I would say my introduction was through a class. There was a lady teaching a course out of the Enjoy Center in St. Albert. And it was a weekend course, and it was an introduction to crystal healing. And it gave you kind of just a window in all the different ways to use crystals. And because there are over 450,000 different specimens, and they're always finding new ones and subcategories of those specimens, there's no way to dive into all of them. So we picked 10 to 15 of the most commonly found and used stones, worked with those. And from there, I picked up books. I followed some, mentors that I really like online on YouTube, just learning. So I call myself a crystal enthusiast because there's the knowledge, it will never end with crystals. Like you can be working with some stones and, and they're constantly finding new specimens as well as they, dig in caves around the world. So to say, some people have said, well, are you a crystal master? No, absolutely not. I believe it takes a lifetime to master something, and crystals definitely would require a lot of time to master. So from there, I began to work with them, meditate with them, and heal myself, actually. So I physically healed my knees. Since then, I have been virtually pain-free as long as I continue to work with all the different modalities that I have tucked in my back pocket when I was told I needed knee replacements over 12 years ago. No knee replacements, no painkillers. So I'm a true believer.
Wow. Yeah. Excellent. And, that was going through my mind too, is that, you never become an expert. You're always learning, right? A lifelong learner in the field, in this case, the crystal field of study. And I'm sure, every day or every week, you're coming across new information about not only the crystals you know about already, but as you said, new ones.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm wearing it on my back right now for pain, actually. So I have one to my back right now. So yeah, I'm a big believer and daily use of crystals. So yeah.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, let's get to it, kind of the main component of the episode today. And for all of you that are watching that are new to crystals, I am as well. I'm new to all of this. And so the questions that I'm going to ask are, guided towards that new experience towards crystals. And I kind of like to think, I'm just going to share my screen here as the crystals for dummies. Do you remember this, Anitta? Before the internet and before we could find things quickly, we would go to these basic guides. And in this case, the dummies guides that were extremely popular, right? In the 90s and 2000s. So this episode is kind of that beginner's guide to crystals. And we're going to go through, as Anitta said, some of the main or the core crystals that people get involved with. We'll discuss them a little bit and some of the healing properties that they might have. And later on, we'll get into, Anitta's more direct involvement with crystals and her website and how you can reach out to her and find more information out as well. Because she does have a fantastic website. It is serendipitywellness.org. So you can go and find more information about that. And we'll delve into that a little bit later. All right. So without further ado, let's go on to our first crystal here. Well, the one that I have. Let's talk about that a little bit first. And that is going to, let me just go to a close up here. That is this one here. When I was in Jasper, couple months ago, I came across this. And Jasper is well known for, selling rocks and crystals and things like that. You can find a lot of different shops. And this is a peacock. I guess it's called bornite ore. Do you know anything about the properties or the benefit of having this specific rock?
Absolutely. So it's a beautiful one. First of all, right? It's a lot of the peacock ore, like you mentioned, bornite, copper. There's a lot of copper inclusions in peacock. They really have a beautiful iridescent color to them typically. And when I work with peacock ore, it's not one that I work with often, actually, but when I do work with it, for me, it really invites in the energy of magnificence. So obviously, beauty, joy, seeing the happiness, the lightness in life. So a person might be attracted to peacock when they're feeling like they need to see the lighter side of things, when they need to flip on the happy switch a little bit. So peacock really is about that vigor and that, think of the peacock flashing its beautiful array of colors in front of you. That's what this is, bringing out the confidence in self.
Okay. And would you say that it's a common ore, or do you see it around? You hear it talked about a lot? Where does it kind of fit in with, the other different rocks and crystals out there?
It is actually quite common. I wouldn't say it's one of the most talked about stones. Like most people are familiar with amethyst and rose quartz and those crystals, but it is quite common and abundantly found in different areas of the world. So that
Okay.
makes the price point nice too, right? It's not one of those crystals that's going to have a typically high price tag on it.
And I just love it. It's a cool looking rock, and I love the purples and the blues and the glitter. And, I keep it on my desk when I'm, creating content. And it
Perfect.
really, it really does give off an energy. I feel it does give off an energy, and it adds some value to your life and well-being. And that's just one I own. And I imagine, people own several different crystals and rocks and ores. And so yeah, just I thought I would, give my own little beginner into, this area, this field, and get your opinion about the peacock or the bornite.
It's a really beautiful stone to own. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go through some of the more common ones that people may own already or may purchase in the near future. And the first one is something that, if I'm saying this right, is Amazonite. Is that correct?
Yes. Amazonite. And this is something where in the crystal community, you're going to hear all sorts of different pronunciations for all the stones. Don't get too hung up on that, I tell people. Um, it's just however it resonates with us. But yes, that's correct. I pronounce it Amazonite. And you can see I have some pieces here. It really does vary in color from a really pretty blue, turquoise, a lot of gray inclusions, and white as well. Here, I'll hold this one still. And Amazonite for me is all about truth, integrity, authenticity. Amazonite exhibits and it really brings out the idea of being authentic with your voice. So being able to speak your truth with clarity, confidence, yet compassion. So if, let's say, someone's struggling with a little bit of timidness, this is going to help to bring out that voice, help to speak that truth. On the other hand, if there's a little bit of overabundance in the throat chakra, Amazonite works a lot with the throat chakra, this is going to help to tame that perhaps anger or irritation that can come out in our words, our tone of voice. So that being said, because it does work strongly with the throat chakra, it's also good for anything physical with the throat, head, and neck area. If you're struggling with sore throat, throat issues such as like laryngitis, bronchitis, even just a sore neck, ears, nose, mouth, absolutely work with Amazonite. So this is a nice, calming, soothing, clarifying crystal that I love to have in my collection.
Okay. And would you say, if it has a calming effect, is someone that, whether you're young or old, that may suffer from anxiety,
Mm,
is that then a crystal that would benefit?
absolutely. That would be a beautiful one to work with anxiety and for children as well. Yeah.
Okay. And I guess the Amazonite always has that light blue tinge to it.
Most commonly, it will have that light blue, kind of you'll see an aqua greenish a little bit of turquoise in some pieces, but most commonly it's going to be a light blue. And
Okay.
there's something called the Mohs hardness scale. And basically, I'm not going to go into detail about that because that's a little bit more on the technical side of things. But crystals, because they're composed of different materials and some have a higher salt content and various minerals in them, they don't like water, or they should be, you should avoid sunlight or different areas like that because it will dull them or they'll sliver off. Amazonite is one of those stones that you want to be mindful of water. So it's not one that I would have in the bath with me, because yes, I do have crystals in the bath sometimes. But Amazonite would not be one of those ones. Unless it was tumbled. That's different. Then I would consider that, you know.
Yeah, you bring back some school memories of science class and the Mohs hardness scale.
Yeah.
And am I correct in saying that diamond is a 10?
You know, I don't honestly know diamond.
Okay.
I know that sounds crazy that I don't know. And I should look into it, but I believe it. Yeah. I mean, it's
Okay.
gonna be
All
there for
that's
sure.
all I remember is I think it goes up to 10, and I think obsidian actually is one of the
Yes.
highest ones as well. So that's
Yeah,
for another episode, our
that is.
science class. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next one. And the next one is one that I see all the time, and that is amethyst. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes,
All
that's
right.
right.
So tell us a little bit about the healing properties of amethyst.
Absolutely. So yeah, you're so correct in saying this is one of the most commonly found crystals. So even people that are not familiar with crystals, they have typically heard or seen amethyst, even if it's at Winners. Amethyst can be found everywhere. And one of the things that I love to share about amethyst is a little bit of history. So the Romans, because crystals and the use of them has gone back centuries across cultures and continents, the Romans used to crush amethyst and adorn their drinking goblets with amethyst, because amethyst is thought to ward off drunkenness. So yes, it's a very common tale, and used across a few different cultures in that regard. So amethyst is a wonderful stone to have if you are looking to break free from a specific habit. So if you're trying to quit smoking, if you're trying to invite in a healthier lifestyle, have amethyst with you because it's a very encouraging crystal for that. Some of the other beautiful properties of amethyst is for sleep. So this is a great crystal to have in a child's room. Specifically, if someone or your child or yourself is struggling with more aggressive sleep issues, so nightmares, night terrors, amethyst is really, really helpful for that. So I like to tuck a piece maybe in a little mesh bag or organza bag, or just even depending on the size, loosely in a pillowcase and sleep with amethyst. And it will help to guard those aggressive night dreams, terrors, all those things. And then amethyst is also a wonderful protector of energy. So we are all energetic beings. Everything is made up of energy. I would think no matter where people, lie on their belief in different energy modalities, they would agree everything's made up of energy. So that being said, crystals are no different. And we give off an energy, we receive an energy. Different people are more receptive depending on how healthy, how happy they are at different times. And amethyst is a guardian of that. So if you work with a lot of people, if you are going out to big crowds, if you're feeling like your energy is depleted and you're wanting to protect that sacred energy of yourself, amethyst is a beautiful crystal to work with.
Yeah, cool. Can you hold that right up to yeah,
Yes,
I can see why that's a popular one, right? Beautiful colors, and I
it
guess
is.
that's a polished one. Are they
This
typically that?
is.
Yeah,
This is the polished one. In the pictures that I sent, those are the raw ones, so those are not tumbled or polished.
right.
And then in gem form, I'll just show you because I make jewelry as well. It darkens typically. So
Okay.
amethyst can look quite a bit darker in there.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm just, for my own purposes here. So, Amazonite, relaxation, anxiety, and then amethyst is one that is for helping with addictions and for children sleeping at night, those kind of things. So far, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
2 for 2. All right, good. Next, we're going to go to black tourmaline. How about that? Black
Very,
tourmaline.
very close, very close. So black tourmaline here, I keep going the wrong direction. So I have a raw piece here. And this was actually gifted to me by a friend whose husband works in a diamond mine and came across this. So up north, I believe up north is where he located this. Now, black tourmaline is my absolute number one stone to use for protection. Black tourmaline, I think of it as an energetic shield, also a physical shield. So I like to have black tourmaline around my house at the front door so that all the energy that's coming in, whether it's from visitors or animals or anything like that, is protected. The other really cool thing about black tourmaline, and I just want to make sure I'm pronouncing this right, because it's iron-rich aluminum borosilicate, it exhibits piezoelectricity. So I always get stumbled with that word. So there's an actual electric current, a charge. So when this is pressed upon or held tightly, it gives off an electrical charge. So it's a really good, I guess you could say, like almost like a little car battery, like a boost for yourself. And it helps to guard against EMF frequencies. So all of those unwanted frequencies that we get from computers, microwaves, telephones, this will actually absorb and transmute the frequencies so they're not absorbed by you at such large amounts, depending on what you're working with. Keep black tourmaline in front of your computer. I have one in front of my microwave. I wear black tourmaline almost daily, again, depending if I'm going out and what I'm doing. But it is an absolute must-have for beginners that are getting started with all this, wonderful area crystals. Yeah.
All right. And when you talk about protection,
Mhm.
is that both on the physical spectrum and on the spiritual spectrum in terms of, how it protects you?
Absolutely. It's my go-to for everything, spiritual, emotional, and physical protection.
Okay. Excellent. Good. And is it a fairly easily obtainable
Yes.
crystal and gem that people can get?
It absolutely is. It's easily attainable, fairly low cost. It's going to depend on the country of origin, how it's mined. Stones come from all different areas of the world, and depending on how abundant they are in that location is going to decide the cost to them. And then,
All
of
right.
course,
Well,
yeah, you have to just be careful, right? When shopping around with stones, there's,
yeah.
yeah, that's a whole nother can of worms. Maybe we'll do that in another episode, but yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. When we get more into the intermediate crystal episodes, yes. And
yes.
this definitely is something I'm going to have to add to my workspace to go with my peacock because, if it, helps against EMF and different frequencies, then definitely I have to add this to my collection. So, is there any difference in terms of um, ability of these crystals if it's polished compared to raw, or does it have the same effect regardless of the look of it?
That's a great question. So the jury is a little bit out on that in terms of the crystal community. Okay, so there's a lot of people that do really reside with only working with the raw stone because it's untarnished. It's in its most natural form. Here's where I believe, in my opinion, is it doesn't matter because crystals have an internal uh, structure that cannot be broken. So this, it doesn't matter how they're shaped, how they're polished, what form they're put in. This internal structure is what holds the energy that they give off. So because that cannot be broken, I work with both raw and tumbled or polished stones. Now, where it gets a little bit different is shapes or sacred geometry absolutely hold different energetic patterns. So that's where the difference is going to come in. Let's say working with like a round sphere I have here versus like a generator point I have here. This is going to decide how the energy is routed or activated. Okay, so in terms of raw or polished, I work with both. There are some people in the crystal community that prefer the raw.
Okay.
So it's not a black and white answer in that regard. Yeah.
Okay. So again, it's part of that personal preference. And yeah. All right. Well, let's go on to the next one. And the next one is, I think I can pronounce this, clear quartz. All right.
Wonderful.
Clear quartz.
Yes. Awesome. So I do have a raw clear quartz here, as well as the tumbled shown in the pictures there. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a closer view. So clear quartz is considered one of the crystals that is a master healer. It can be used for any and all purposes. And specifically, it can be used to clear, charge, and amplify the energies of other stones that it's around. Also energy that it's just surrounding it in general. So if a person is wearing solely clear quartz and no other crystal, it will amplify the energy that you're feeling, that you're sitting with at that time. So it's really nice because it's kind of like a manifestation or a vision board for whatever it is you're wanting to work with. Because it's self-cleansing, because crystals do need to be cleansed from time to time, they will hold and build up energy. They're energetic beings too. And some stones will actually change color after a while. It's really cool to see. Smoky quartz has done that to me. But clear quartz does not need that cleansing. It's almost like a self-cleansing stone. So I use clear quartz for all the chakras. I use clear quartz to help with meditation. If I'm having physical aches and pains, it's kind of a one size fits all crystal.
All right. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems that I remember that quartz is used a lot in the manufacturing process.
Yes, actually, yes, that's a great point. So quartz are used in radios and transmitters and computers because they're a good transmitter of energy, right? So they help amplify and regulate whatever energy is transferring through them. So yeah, you're right. Quartz is
excellent.
used in,
yeah. All right, the Dummy's Guide to Crystals is really paying off.
Yeah.
All right, let's head to the next one. And the next one we're going to talk about is fluorite. Is that correct?
Correct. So this is that tower that I briefly showed earlier when I was talking about the difference.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah, this is gorgeous, isn't it? And fluorite's such a pretty stone because there's so many variants of colors, from the deepest of purples to greens and blues. And for me, fluorite is all about knowledge, wisdom, and tapping into perhaps kind of like lost memory. I will work with clear quartz or suggest clear quartz for clients that are having issues with memory, maybe that are struggling a little bit with dementia, Alzheimer's, perhaps studying for tests, trying to, work through school, those sorts of things. Or sorry, fluorite. I said clear quartz, but I meant fluorite. And I gifted my daughter actually a fluorite bracelet for university, and she's not so much into crystals, but I just said, just have it with you. Even if you don't want to wear it, just have it in your backpack, because she was struggling with her note taking. And I remember getting a text about 2 weeks later, and she said, I can't believe the difference in the ease of taking notes. It can't be the crystal. And I said, well, perhaps it is. How about that? But fluorite is a wonderful, wonderful crystal to use when learning a new skill.
All right. So that I think you brought up an important point is,
Yeah.
to use the benefits of crystals, you don't have to, like a delicate egg, take care of it every day, right? You just keep it near you, keep it on you, keep it in a purse, keep it, in your car or near a computer, and just let it do its work from afar, correct?
That is absolutely correct. Let it do its work. I often view these crystals as holding Mother Nature's DNA. And Earth knows what we need, whether it's through plant medicine or foods or various things. Crystals are no different. They hold wisdom and knowledge and healing. And it's just a matter of us letting go of our ego, letting go of our thinking mind to allow the stones to do their work. So, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So definitely something that you should consider for an elderly family member or friend or neighbor, someone that has difficulty with memory, or a student that, is under the pressure of studying, and firsthand knowledge right there of Anitta's daughter feeling the benefits of that. Now, do you have that? Can you show that one again?
Absolutely.
The one I said, yeah. Now, the shape of it, you talked about the shape before. This is, kind of like a pyramid at the top. And now the basic information I know about pyramids is there is power in a pyramid shape. Would you concur with that?
Absolutely. So there's actually power behind all the shapes. This particular shape is, yes, it has the triangle, the pyramid shape at the top, but it's called a generator. So the idea behind generators, crystals that are formed in the shape of a generator, similar to this one I have here, is they direct energy to a specific area. So these are wonderful stones to use in the middle of a crystal grid. A crystal grid is in the pictures that you have of the stones that you just pulled up here. That is an example of a crystal grid. So you would place the generator in the middle, in that center circle there. And there would be stones, depending on what your intention is, there would be stones placed around. And this generator is what's communicating with the other crystals, I guess you could say, of what energy needs to be amplified. So this is a great one if you're needing laser focus, is the best way I can put it. Generator. Love it.
Okay.
And it's just so pretty. You can really see all the different colors when it's shaped that way.
All right. Well, that's cool. That's something I learned. So in the picture that we're seeing here, you would place that right in that circle in the middle as the generator. Okay. Real cool. All right. Next, let's go on to one that I haven't heard of before. So this is lepidolite.
Yes.
Lepidolite? How would you pronounce that?
So lepidolite is how I pronounce it. I have heard it pronounced lepidolite. Really, I don't think there's anything wrong with how you're saying it, as long as you're using it. This crystal is my go-to. Again, it's a great sleep aid, but this is my go-to for emotional balance. So if a person is struggling with anxiety, depression, mood swings, those sorts of things, lepidolite is the number one suggestion I'm going to offer. The really cool thing about lepidolite is it does actually contain lithium. And lithium, as we know, is used medically for depression and for mood swings. So there is not only that chemical makeup of lithium, but there's that energetic enhancement of a calming effect. And this is another one that I would place in a pillowcase that I would give a child to hold if they're anxious, perhaps, have it in the backpack for school, just anything that's going to, any situation in your life where you're feeling like you're needing a balance of emotions is where I would bring in lepidolite. And it's such a pretty, pretty purple. It's just a gorgeous stone.
Yeah, I see a common theme color-wise, a lot of purples in a lot of these stones. Yes.
Yes.
And you said it had, contained lithium, and I think lithium is combustible, correct? So is this something that would burn easy?
You know what? I have to tell you, I'm not sure about that. I'd
Yeah,
have to look into that further. I don't know the
yeah.
answer to that one, so but that would
Maybe it
make sense.
depends on, the amount or the concentration. I just
Yeah,
know with batteries, with lithium batteries, they can be, explosive and dangerous. So I just wonder if there was a combustible element to this as well.
perhaps. Don't hold it over your candle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not what crystals are for. All right. Let's go on to another quartz, and this time we have rose quartz. So tell us a little bit about the healing properties of this quartz.
Yeah, so this is another really common crystal that I would say a lot of people have perhaps been gifted, or again, you can find this in so many different stores, but rose quartz is the crystal of the heart. So I call this the mother nurturer stone of love, kindness, compassion, forgiveness, empathy. And it also helps to aid in the process of going through grief. And when I say grief, I mean even beyond the loss of a loved one. It can be grief of, transition in life. Perhaps there's a move happening or a career change or any kind of transition. Rose quartz is really like a nurturing, soothing energy. And what I have here is there's different names for it, but this one I like to call a palm stone. So crystals, so this is a wonderful stone to have as a palm stone because it is so soothing and nurturing. You can simply be playing with it like this and getting the benefits of the energies that rose quartz offers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess one question I have as a beginner to this is, are there any connections with crystals where you shouldn't have certain crystals together? Now, we always hear about, hey, add this and add this and add this, but is there the opposite of that where crystals are not compatible with each other?
That is another great question. And I actually get asked that quite often. This is another one where there's going to be varying opinions on this. I personally don't subscribe to the idea of not pairing stones, certain stones not being paired together, in terms of them giving off a negative effect. Crystals are high vibrational beings. Yes, I call them beings, little people. They're high, they hold a frequency that's elevated. And with anything that is of higher vibration, higher frequency, whether it's healthy foods, whether it's meditation, whether it's the feeling of happiness and joy, there cannot be a negative outcome from immersing yourself in that high vibration. Now, where the idea of not pairing stones for some people comes in is more of, let's say, contradiction in the energy it'll give. So perhaps, for example, Amazonite being a calming, soothing stone about truth and authenticity, more of a kind of energy. Some people may not want to pair it with a stone like tiger's eye, which I know we will talk about right away, because it's a more invigorating, masculine, get it done, let's get this, fixed energy. So they might feel like there's a clash happening there. What I feel is that our energy is constantly changing. Energy can't be destroyed, right? So we're all in different energy moods, if you will, at different times. And we may be requiring a combination of energetic help at different, in various ways, if that makes sense. So I don't have any crystals that I wouldn't put together. I just have perhaps combinations that it's very important to find out what it is they're wanting to work with. And that's what I'm going to decide. Okay, these would be most beneficial. If it's for sleep, let's not pair a whole bunch of exciting stones with your lepidolite and your calming, soothing energies. So I realize that's a little bit of a long-winded answer to that, but no, I personally don't believe that it's a huge no-no to put certain stones together.
Okay, yeah, and I was just curious because, as you said, if you have one that's calming and then you have one that's high energy, do they kind of counteract each other? And I guess, in short, crystals are positive, right? They're meant to be positive, having a positive influence on your life and your well-being. So regardless of whether they have different abilities, it's still a positive ability that they're going to have.
That's a great way to look at it. And your energy is not going to invite in something that's not requiring at that time. So even if, I'll use a bracelet, for example, even if a bracelet has a whole bunch of different kind of crystals in it, if your energy is seeking a more relaxing energy, it's not going to draw upon the, the high, get it done, fix it, confidence at that time, because it's not needing that. So it's almost like it would just be dormant in my view for that time. Yeah. Because there's no harm that can be caused from that.
Okay. Excellent. Good. And you brought up, vibrations and frequencies and things like that. And I agree. I think everything, is vibrating at different levels and different frequencies. And, even with music, there's certain vibrational music that can have a positive influence on your life as well at a certain megahertz or sound frequency. And maybe that's a discussion for another, episode where we talk more about vibration and frequency. But yeah, okay. Well, thanks for that. That's kind of what I thought, is that doesn't matter which crystals you have together, they have a positive influence. All right. The next one that we have is something called selenite.
Yes, selenite. So selenite I have one here. I actually have a few I'm going to show you. Selenite is the one that I have taped to my back right now. Selenite is another one that works with all of the chakras, and it can be used to amplify and bring in a positive energy for both physical and emotional and spiritual side of yourself. It connects you kind of like to divine healing. So that idea that we are all one, that we are all universally connected. And I'll just show you some of the other selenite that I have here. I have a charging plate similar to the one in your picture as well. Selenite is another one to clear and cleanse your crystals. So I have these little plates where I'll place my stones after I do a session, or if I'm working with them myself, I'll place them on a selenite plate so they can get cleared and cleansed. This one's really nice because it has a little grid on it. So you're getting that sacred geometry in there as well. This would be called a selenite wand. So this is something I would place right on the person. And it has the pictures of the chakras as well. But again, this is going to help align. So this is aligning your spiritual and your physical self. So allowing a person to be connected to their spiritual side, be in meditation, and I'll call it the higher elevation side, yet staying grounded. And that's the important thing, right? We always want to stay grounded. We have to live in this world. We have to do regular human things. So it's important to have that connection to our spiritual side, but we still have to stay grounded. And so selenite is absolutely one of my favorite stones to work with. And I love this one. This is the one I use when I'm talking, if I'm doing interviews or anything like that. This is the one I hold because it helps me stay connected with that knowledge that I know is there, yet it keeps my 2 feet on the ground.
It looks like a small version of those crystal balls that fortune tellers would use, and I wonder if there was selenite in those.
Yeah, I wonder if those were clear quartz. Actually, I should look into that. I should look into.
Yeah, it'd be cool to know what. I mean, is it just glass or is it a specific type of crystal? Yeah. Now you mentioned the word chakra, and again, that's probably a whole different discussion. But in very simple layman's terms for people like me, what are chakras?
Chakras, yes. So as you can see behind this side, opposite camera, right, Anitta? you can see there's also pictures of the 7 main chakras that are associated with us. So there's many, many more chakras, but what they are simply is energy meridians within the body. So I think of them as our energetic organs. And the 7 main ones that start at the top of the head, so the crown chakra, working all the way down to the base of the spine, which is the root chakra, would govern those parts of the body emotionally, physically, and spiritually. So the idea is aligned and it's deeply rooted in Eastern medicine, Eastern practices such as acupuncture, reflexology, TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, and on. They all align with the idea of when we keep our chakras or our chakras, depends how you want to pronounce it again. If it's Sanskrit, it is typically the hard CH. But keeping our chakras aligned is helpful in keeping our health and our vitality high and optimum. So like I mentioned, the top of the crown, the top of the head is the crown. Then when we get to the brow, in between the brow, it's called the third eye. We get to the throat chakra. Then there's the heart chakra, which is in the center of the chest. And then just above the navel. So depending on, again, the size of your hands, but usually they say between 3 and 4 finger spaces above the navel is the solar plexus chakra. Below the navel, about the same distance, is the sacral or sacral chakra. And then again, at the base of the spine is the root chakra. So those areas, thinking of where those areas are within the body, the organs that are in that place, the tendons and the muscles that are residing there, those energy centers are governing all that. And emotions are tied with the different energy centers as well. So
right.
it goes way deep, like you said, but that would be a basic introduction to the 7 main chakras.
Yeah, I find that fascinating. I mean, I've heard that term before, and I know it's related to your body and well-being, and I'm sure crystals are geared towards different chakras as well. But yeah, definitely for, future conversation, that's something I would like to delve into a little bit deeper and find more specifically about these. You said 7 chakras, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's move on to our next one. And the next one that I have is something that you showed a little earlier, and that is sodalite.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
And I have another generator here too. So it's a little bit smaller than the fluorite generator. There we go. And this is sodalite or sodalite is really great for focus and maintaining. Again, it's blue, so it's going to be associated with the throat area. So anything with head, neck, shoulders, that sort of area. But it's also going to help maintain focus when thoughts are scattered. So when we're experiencing that monkey mind, that jumping back and forth, our to-do list, those sorts of things, this is a crystal that you really want to tap into, sodalite. I love this one. It has similar energies for me that fluorite do in terms of the thinking mind. So helping to tap into information that we know is there. But it really connects the intuitive awareness with our learned knowledge. So it helps to align whatever perhaps we've learned in school that resonates with us, that we need to bring forth for our career, for our everyday life, with our intuitive awareness of, is this right for us? Will this align me with my highest good? So I love sodalite for working with, again, crystal grids. I would place this generator in the middle of a crystal grid. Meditating with sodalite, just having it at your workspace, at your desk would be really, really good. Good one for kids as well. It's a little bit more of an active energy. So I personally wouldn't sleep with it. I may, some people say they have no problem sleeping with it, but for me, it activates things a little bit. But where it calms the monkey mind is, some people struggle with that. That's where it might be helpful for sleep for them.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And you mentioned, with the generator, Are there generators for every crystal, or is it only specific ones that can act as generators?
I've seen generators for lots of crystals. I couldn't speak to if they have them for every crystal, but yeah, generators are, you can find them in most stones.
Okay. And does it have to be in that shape, or as we see in the picture here, can a generator be something like that's in the middle right there?
So those are just a tumbled stone. It's hard because they're small, like I've shown here. So the generator is speaking of this particular shape where it looks like a tower. So if you
Okay.
were to go into a crystal shop, let's say, and you're wanting one of these in whatever crystal, whether it's rose quartz, fluorite, sodalite, but you want this shape, that's when you would ask for a generator. And they should know what you're talking about, I would hope so. Yeah.
All right. And that leads us to number 10 already. And
Wow.
the 10th crystal that we're going to talk about is Tiger Eye. Got a cool name, just like peacock, but
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about the properties and healing ability of Tiger Eye and what is the technical name?
Absolutely. And so tiger eye, and I'll show you, I have a little egg here. It's not as big, so I'll try and hold it a little closer. Tiger eye is a stone that you want to be cautious if you have it raw, as it does contain asbestos. Um, so so some people will make elixirs with crystals that you would drink. Tiger's eye is not one that I would make a crystal elixir with. But there are different colors of tiger's eye. So as you can see, I have a yellow one here. You can also get red and blue tiger's eye. And tiger's eye is really, like I mentioned before, an invigorating, fiery energy. So this is an energy that's associated strongly with the solar plexus area, which is your abdomen, which is just above your belly button here. And it's a very get the job done type of energy. So if a person is struggling with confidence, with self-esteem, with getting to the next step of a project, there's a little bit of stagnation in whatever they're working on, grab hold of a tiger's eye, because let me tell you, you're not going to stop until that project's done. It is a very, for me, it holds the energy of like, I just think of a bull in a china shop, or very, masculine, like we're going to get this job done and we're not going home until it's done kind of energy. So, yeah, what else can I tell you about tiger's eye? Oh, the other thing I want to talk about, the physical, yes, eyesight. That's what I wanted to talk about, tiger's eye. So it's called tiger's eye. It is associated with eyesight. It's also called hawk's eye. So you might find some that are called hawk's eye. Really good for seeing to the root of a problem. So yes, eyesight in the physical form, but eyesight in the idea of seeing, I won't say it, but seeing behind BS, if you will. Seeing, yeah, I can't think of another way to put it, but getting to the root of the problem, really. Another great aid tiger's eye helps with is digestion. So if you're struggling with anything to do with IBS, people that struggle with Crohn's, grab hold of a tiger's eye and meditate with it on your solar plexus. Have it in your non-dominant hand, because that's the hand that is a little bit more sensitive to energy. But this is a stone typically people will feel the energy of. That's a good one to experiment to see how sensitive you are to the energetic vibrations. Tiger's eye will, for a lot of people, give off an energetic vibration that can be felt.
Okay. Yeah, cool. So many more crystals, right? So many more
Oh,
stones that we could go into, and it just like almost never ending. But as you said, these are kind of the basics, the starter stones, so to speak. Let me just throw a few quick questions at you. People deal with all sorts of issues in their life, and quickly, what would you recommend then as the best stone for? Let's start with, again, anxiety.
anxiety. Yes, I love Amazonite, but there's another one that's actually popping up in my mind right now. I'm a little bit intuitive. So maybe someone that's going to be watching this, maybe it's for them. But there's a stone called blue lace agate. And maybe we can talk about that in another episode. But
Okay.
Amazonite, for the ones I showed, Amazonite, rose quartz, and lepidolite.
Okay. Depression.
Lepidolite.
Okay. Insomnia.
Oh, depends on the cause. Lepidolite, Amazonite. Yeah.
Okay. How about anger issues?
Rose quartz.
Rose quartz. So sneak some rose quartz into
Yeah.
someone that might have some anger issues. Okay.
Yeah.
How about exhaustion? Just
Okay.
need
So,
that energy boost.
yeah, tiger's eye.
Tiger's eye.
Yeah. Could
Okay.
be a little bit of black tourmaline needed in there. Black tourmaline helps to rid the body of toxins as well. So maybe there's a buildup of energy that needs to flush. So you could go either direction there.
Okay. How about good fortune?
Ooh, tiger's eye is great for that, actually, for abundance. And Amazonite has a little bit of an abundance attribute to it as well.
Okay. Longevity? Like in terms of life and living and
Tiger's eye, because it enhances the chi, the ki, the prana within us, the life force energy with us. So I would say tiger's eye.
how about muscle pain, muscle issues?
Oh, yes. Selenite. So I like selenite for that one. Black tourmaline as well.
Okay. And how about, you talked about eyesight with tiger's eye. How about auditory hearing?
Fluorite or sodalite.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Good.
Awesome. Good. I'm gonna have a room full of crystals and stones here before I'm done. All right. So one of the last things I want to ask you, because I've heard about this as well. We have a full moon coming up, right? The Pisces full moon. A lot of people will take their crystals and put them outside during a full moon. Do you recommend it? And if you do, why should they do that?
Absolutely. That's a great question. Yes, I absolutely recommend it. It's one of the easiest and strongest ways to clear the energy of your crystals. So full moons are all about releasing what no longer serves you, releasing energies that are stagnant, that are negative, that are unwanted. So that's the purpose of putting your crystals outside in the full moon. Now you can place your stones outside 3 days before up to 3 days after. The energies of the full moon build up before. And when I mention this, people often say to me, yeah, I actually feel the energies are more intense sometimes before or after. And that's because there's a buildup and like a letdown period. So even if you miss the night of the full moon, don't fret. There's that kind of 7-day window in there. Now, of course, be mindful of small animals, depending on the size of your stones. If you have plates of really small tumbled stones, you don't want birds picking them up or little animals taking them away. Animals love crystals, by the way. So yes, full moon is a great way to cleanse your crystals.
Okay. And I guess if you have a lot of small ones, you could put them under like a Pyrex dish or something like that. Is that fine to do that, or do they have to? Okay. So they don't have to be completely exposed to the moonlight. And how about
in the windowsill? I have a big window, and I'll just have some stones on the windowsill. Yeah.
How about sunlight? Does sunlight have any kind of impact on them?
Yeah, absolutely. And some people do use sunlight to re-energize their stones. Now, you have to be mindful because a lot of stones come from caves and caverns. They don't like sunlight. So that's going to fade some of their stones. A lot of amethyst and rose quartz and many other crystals will fade over time. So you don't want to leave them out too long. But because crystals usually come from the ground and deep in the earth, sunlight isn't as commonly used as moonlight in terms of refreshing the energy. It's more of a recharge. Yeah.
Okay. And I know someone is probably thinking this, so I got to ask it as a beginner. Should you wash them with soapy water and hot water? Do they need to be washed?
Okay, so no, your crystals don't need to be washed. Now, here's another thing you have to be mindful of is not all crystals like water. Different reasons, depending on their Mohs hardness, they can just like selenite will just shard away over time. So you don't want to be bathing selenite or washing selenite. Also because of their mineral makeup. So there's a lot of crystals that actually have mercury and asbestos, like I mentioned, and different things like that. And so not all stones love water. So if you're not familiar with if your crystals are water friendly, then I recommend avoiding water. That being said, water is actually a wonderful way to clear energy, not only for crystals, but for ourselves. So I do wash a lot of my crystals under cold running water. Cold water just resets energy really, really fast. So if you're not sure, there's lots of charts online. You can simply Google water safe crystals and you'll get a list there. Most tumbled stones, I will say, if they've been polished and tumbled, they're typically okay in water, but I would not sit them and leave them in a water bath for too long.
Okay, yeah, good to know. And I guess the last rapid fire question I have is, do crystals need to be replaced? I mean, obviously, if they break down and fall apart, yes, but energetically, do you need to replace your crystals or just recharge them?
This is an awesome question. So I often hear that my stone ran away from me or walked away on me and I can't find it. And I swear I put it here and it's gone. Crystals, our energy knows what we need and when we don't need it anymore. And some crystals will actually break or they'll disappear on you when that energy isn't needed. So I've actually had hematite break on me. I've heard stories of people wearing hematite rings and they just literally shattered because of the energy was a little bit too strong. It built up and wasn't needed anymore. So to say, do they need to be replaced? It depends on how much you're missing that crystal. So if it's something that you honestly feel you misplaced yourself, and I really want that crystal back, absolutely go out and grab yourself another stone. But I think it's all situational. That's a hard one to answer a straight yes and no to.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering if it, because I'm sure some people go, well, it's not working like it used to. It's not, it doesn't have the same impact that it had 2 years ago. Should I replace it? And you're saying it's, again, more of a preferential thing. If you feel that you might need another one because it will give you a stronger vibration, then go ahead and get one.
So the crystal is always working how it's supposed to. What's changed is what we are needing and how we're
Oh,
working. So the crystal will not lose its energy, but it may need to be cleared and cleansed. So if you are feeling, let's say you're very kinesthetically sensitive to energy and you could feel the vibration of a stone before and you can no longer feel it, a person might think the stone's not working anymore, right? I would suggest clear the energy of that crystal first. So do the moonlight thing, anything nature, dirt, sound is a great way to clear energy. Rice, anything that comes from the earth will help to clear negative, unwanted, stagnant energy from your stones. And if after you clear the energy and you go back to that stone that you felt the vibration before and you still don't feel it, your energy has changed and you no longer need that anymore, or you're matching the energy, and so maybe you're not as sensitive to what that crystal has to offer. So different things there, but no, the stones will always work. We're the ones that need to adjust and adapt.
yeah, and wow, so much information, and I can't believe that we've been chatting for an hour already and just soaking it all in. And I hope everyone watching has, if you're new to crystals, I hope you've learned as much as I have in this conversation and this little bit of coffee talk with Anitta. Anitta, what is the best way that people can get a hold of you?
Yeah, so my website there is serendipitywellness.org. You can reach me via email. So Anitta SW for Serendipity Wellness at protonmail.com. And you can also find me on Instagram and Facebook at Serendipity Wellness with Anitta.
There we go. There's your Instagram. and your Facebook page
Perfect.
as well. Excellent. Good. And so with the website, you also sell crystals and jewelry made of crystals. And do you have any with you right now that you can kind of show off?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you mentioned, I make a variety of crystal gifts. Most commonly is jewelry. So, I make bracelets that these are leather wrap bracelets that would wrap around the wrist twice here. I make elastic bracelets. This one is made with black tourmaline and smoky quartz. I make bookmarks. These are a really nice gift for those book lovers in your life. This has got the sodalite in there that we talked about. And then I get different varieties of crystals in stock that I'll sell, um, just depending on, time of year and those sorts of things. So some of the crystals I showed earlier, like the chakra wand, I do have for sale right now, as well as the selenite charging plate. And honestly, the list goes on and on. Earrings and car charms. And I just, you know what? I just love playing with crystals and working with them. So it's my way to connect with the
Yeah.
stones.
And yeah, these are beautiful, Anita. Love the look of a lot of these. I love that pendulum. I can see how that would be appealing to a lot of people. And it looks like you custom order bracelets. People can kind of say, "Hey, I like this and this and this. Can you put something together for me?"
Absolutely.
Earrings, leather wrap bracelets. What is the time? How long would someone have to wait? Let's say if they want to custom order a bracelet from you.
Bracelet right now, give me about a week. Getting closer to Christmas, it can be anywhere up to 10 days, just depending on if it's a leather wrap, if it's a mala. The malas are a little bit more time consuming because I do hand knot in between each bead, and I give it a blessing and an intention that the person is asking for. So it depends on what the item is. But typically, I would say 5 to 7 business days.
Okay. And in terms of the actual stones themselves,
Mhm.
which ones do you currently have in stock?
So I currently have over 35 different crystal beads in stock, and I'm continually adding more and changing up my inventory. But I have all the ones that we did talk about today in stock, and an abundance more. So I can
Yeah.
make, I can custom make pretty much any healing intention or, crystal vibration that you're looking for any piece. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And the price is more than reasonable. Some of these are $2 and $3, and even that pendulum, is only $11. So, very affordable and something that can go a long way in helping your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. What would you say is your most popular, first of all, popular stone or crystal? And then popular jewelry item made from stones and crystals.
So the most popular stone to that people request would be either rose quartz or amethyst. And then for jewelry, it would be the elastic bracelets. So similar to the one I'm wearing here. And I
Okay.
think it's just because they're so versatile, and I can custom them to any size that you need. They're great for gifts too. And it's a really easy way to invite in that energy that you're wanting, is to just wear it on your person. So I think that's why the crystal bracelets tend to be probably the most popular item.
All
Mhm.
right. And then so they would just go about just go to your website. And then on the website, there would be a place that they can get in touch with you, contact you, or I guess they can order directly from the stores part of your site as well.
Correct.
Okay. Excellent. Good. Well, I've learned a lot. I want to thank you for educating me and hopefully many others out there as well about some of these the crystals that we should have in our life for better well-being overall. Any final comments? Anything you kind of want to close off with? We were going to do a little bit of kind of a meditation, but I think maybe we'll save that if we do another episode in the future. Um, any closing comments, Anita?
You know what? I just wanted to thank everyone for taking the time to, learn a little bit more about crystals. And just remember that, whatever crystal that you have, whatever you're attracted to, I say don't dismiss pretty. There's a reason you like the color, or the reason you're attracted to the stone. Just pick it up, grab it, and hold it.
Yeah, cool. Excellent. And final question, how many crystals would you say you own in your own personal possession? Give me a raw
Oh
number.
my gosh.
10,000?
No.
Not the ones you're selling, just
I'm
the
trying to do better. I'm trying to do better at not hoard crystals. I probably a couple hundred,
yeah,
something like
I,
that.
it, very easy, right? But
Yeah.
again, there's a purpose to them. There's a reason why you have it. It's just not like bottle caps that you have, in the back corner taking up space, but there's a purpose to these.
There is. Absolutely. They're my babies. Yes. My crystal babies.
And you never have a favorite, right? It's like
No,
asking what your
no,
favorite child is. You can't have a
no.
favorite
You can't. You can't.
because
They
they
all have
will
their
know.
purpose. Yeah.
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 All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us today. Please share this out, educate other people about crystals as well. Go and visit Anitta's website. I'll leave a link in the description box below. Reach out to her. If you have any other questions, shoot her an email. Go visit her Instagram page, her Facebook page. And yeah, I want to thank you so much, Anitta, for joining me on my premiere Coffee Talk episode. And I hope we can have more conversations in the future about some of the deeper aspects of crystals and energy and chakras and meditation and all those other things that you're involved with.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It was so much fun talking about one of my passions.
Yes, and that came through very clearly. So thanks again, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
See you. Bye.
Thank you again, Anitta, for being a guest on Coffee Talk on Life in Alberta. If you would like to find out more information, again, go check out her website, serendipitywellness.org, O-R-G, where you can find out about some of her on-demand courses that she has to offer. You can contact her through her email, and you can check out again some of those wonderful products that she has to sell. Again, if you want to help improve your mental, spiritual, physical well-being, these crystals might help out. Also, check her out on Facebook. That's Serendipity Wellness with Anitta. Give that page a like. Go to her Instagram, Serendipity Wellness with Anitta, and give her a follow. And even on TikTok, she's got some videos. Serendipity Anitta or Anitta Jensen will get you in the right direction. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Coffee Talk, and thank you to my guest for making the time to have this conversation with me. If you haven't already, go ring that bell for future notifications, subscribe to the channel, and leave a like if you found this content valuable. And go check out some of the other videos that are currently on the channel. If you would like to be a guest on Coffee Talk, go to the About section of my YouTube page. There's a link there to my email where you can get a hold of me. Thank you again so much. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next episode.